Dr. Shakti Vijay. Subject is Revolution of First Yoga.
Good morning, everybody. Vanakkam. Hope you all have a nice time here, enjoying your sessions. In a conference, we usually present something and we say something. I have not come here to say something. I have come here to ask, introspect, analyze, or whatever. I just had some thought. Basically, I am from a family where my parents are naturopathy doctors. So we treat patients with naturopathy and yoga. We see a lot of variety of people who come after following allopathy, Siddha, Ayurveda, pranic healing, Reiki, acupuncture, many things. So when I was small, I had a question in my mind. So what is the best method? My father says naturopathy is the best. My uncles are allopathy doctors. They say allopathy is the best. My grandfather was a homeopathy doctor. He says homeopathy is the best. My auntie is a Siddha doctor. She says Siddha is the best. Now I wanted to know which one should I do. So I started introspecting. Everything has a truth in its own method. But when I started learning about yoga, then I had more different perspective. So my simple questions like that, what I thought, how yoga would have evolved, that's what we are going to see here. Before that, I used to ask a question to my students. Let me ask the same question to you. For the first allopathy college in the world, for the first batch of students, who was the teacher? Definitely it can't be allopathy doctor. Because if you are allopathy doctor, that was not the first college then. It's not the first batch. So there was somebody in that college who was a teacher, but who was not a graduate of the same system. He was a teacher. So where did he learn everything? Who taught him? How did he learn? Eklavya learned himself, but he saw the guru and he learned. He had a guru at least as an imaginary form, at least as a statue. But where did this person learn from? And we all believe that person who taught without learning from somewhere. And they give injection, we take it. Right? So next slide. And now, if the teachers teach us something, where the teacher learn what she is teaching us. We all go to school, we learn alphabets. Your own mother tongue, we learn something. Where did she learn from? We are now called literates because she taught us. Next slide. If we are literates, the alphabets who invented did not learn alphabets. So to call us literates, we learned from somebody who was an illiterate. And that's accepted. That's how everything evolves. Next slide. That is the concept why I am thinking about how did the first yogi come into being. We say the first yogi is Adinath, Shiva. We say thousands of names. The name is immaterial. Whoever it is, from where? What's the source? That's the thing what we're going to see. Next slide, please. These are the same questions what we saw, but the two important questions what we have to add here is, who recognized him as a yogi? If he says, I'm a yogi. Imagine we are a group of villagers in a village. We don't have the habit of drinking milk. There are cows, buffaloes, dogs, pigs, horses. We don't have the habit. Very old times. No domestication. I come up and propose an idea, we can milk the cow and we can drink. You know how foolish it will look? It will not look natural. It will look very foolish. If I say there is something called as curd, because curd is not naturally made in the cow. If I say curd, it looks very foolish. I will be called very weird personality. So when somebody does something very weird, how did somebody call him, okay, he's a yogi. How did somebody call him somebody above everybody? And how did they recognize him as a guru? It's all very interesting question which no textbook has any reference. I didn't search anything, but if it was there, somebody would have spoken about it. In that way, I came across something, not for searching over this in any way, I was just learning something. I was listening to somebody. There he explains there's a Tamil literature called Tolkappiyam. It's the first grammar text we got for the language of Tamil. It is believed to be 3,000 or 5,000 years old. That is the number. There are many chapters. If you search this, you will get the same thing. What they say here, the species, we say in yoga there are 84 lakh species. They classify the species not by the number of species, but by the senses what they have. We all ask, do you have sense? We say yes, and we get angry for that. If somebody asks you, how many senses do you have? We say 6. But what are the 6? These are 6. Touch, taste, smell, vision, hearing, and mind is a 6th sense. We all usually say the faculties of mind we call a 6th sense. But only when I heard that reference, I understood in the olden days they have called the mind itself as 6th sense. And this evolution, how it happened, is a long story. I don't want to go into it, but this is how it is. We are special only because we have this. I don't think animals have a permanent mind like how we have. They have a mind which comes when they have a problem, temporary mind, and then goes off. Because animals live by instinct. The Sharira Dharmas, what we learn, they live by the instinct, not by a plan. So when we classify mind as a benchmark for human beings, the animals are called below-minded. A mammal is the topmost below. We are under mammals, but still we have mind. They are not having mind. They are below-minded. We are minded. Yogis are beyond-minded. Animals cannot sense time. We sense time. We have different perception of time. When you are in urgency, your time perception is different. When you are bored, your time perception is different. But yogis go beyond time. They live in a different time scale, different world, different plane of existence. They're different. We can keep going here and there. That's what our Karma Yoga theory says. But to come here, we have evolved from 5 to 6 sense, Ganapati to Subramanya. 5 head to 6 head. Probably it is the senses they mention. I do not know. I'm not sure. That's what I thought. Maybe it's the reason. Now we have to go to 7. Now who is 7? Now we don't know what. Shiva is what. If it is 6, then by mathematics it should be 7. So probably there are 7. Maybe there was a movie called Seventh Sense in Tamil, Yela Marivu. There they speak about something of Siddhis. So somebody from here go to China and get some Siddhis. So probably there is some 7th sense. Maybe that's what they're achieving. We do not know. Because we cannot speak about something what we have not experienced or we can't even know it verbally. And to go from there to here, the only purpose of life till now, the best answer what everybody agrees, every religion what they agree, is liberation. And there are many ways to go. Some say religion, some say spirituality, some say both are same, some say there's a purpose of something, some say both are different, whatever it is. There are many methods what we have. There are somebody who says religion and they are also Swamiji. Some who says against religion, even they are Swamijis. India is a country like that. Now yoga is not religion. Yoga is just a pathway. Like education is the purpose of education is to uncover the light inside. The ignorance should be removed. So anything what you learn can become a tool for you to liberate yourself. Jnana Yoga is one. Bhakti Yoga is also one. In Bhakti Yoga you don't learn anything. It's a bhava. In Jnana Yoga it's not a bhava. You have to attain the bhava, but it is not the bhava first. So what is happening there? It's your knowledge. So every plane you can attain samadhi and liberation. But yoga is a broad term. Anything can fix into yoga. Because it's union, I can fix anything into yoga. So nowadays there are many yoga comes. Nowadays beer yoga, sheep yoga, goat yoga. Have you heard all these terms? They do yoga with beer bottle. They do yoga with goats. But the interesting thing is, those goats come and sit near you when you do yoga. If you stop you doing, they go. We are doing a session of sun gazing, Suritrataka. There was a wounded dog. Daily morning it comes near us and sits near us. Once we get up, it goes. It doesn't do anything. Probably it feels something nice when some 50 people gather and do some meditation. Maybe it feels nice. We don't even feel that feeling. But animals do. With our sixth sense, something has happened to us. Maybe that is a part of the game. Next slide, please, sir. So we use yoga like anything else to go to some stage. That stage we call as yogi. Now what next after becoming yogi? We all speak about how to go. Okay, you went there, then what? What next? We don't know. But probably all the God photos, whatever we see, they're all still meditating. Then why are they gods? Probably they have some eighth sense, I do not know. Or they have some ninth sense. Maybe there is an evolution going on. We do not know when, where, how long, we are not aware. But I think there may be something more bigger than that. Next one, please. And it is not just yoga what it is about. Whatever you say in our country we had, they all came like yoga from somewhere. It is not somebody taught to us. Still many mysteries of what happened in our country in ancient times, they are not able to find an answer. For example, there is an iron pillar which is not rusting at all. Any metallurgy student should know iron will rust. But how is that iron not rusting? Now we are not able to find out. It's from our country. We do not know the knowledge base. Then how did they find out? So there is something what we lack in spite of we evolving. They had what we lost. And what is that? Next one. What was that? Any idea? That's the next one, we are going there. What was that? See, doing this something, somebody became a yogi. What is that? Any guesses?
Self-experience.
Self-experience. With what?
With the
How did it happen? If I have to undergo yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, how did it happen automatically?
doing practice.
What practice? It was not described before. But doing what?
Contemplating on it.
Huh?
Contemplating on it.
On what?
On that, whatever you mentioned.
See, there was not knowing you can become a yogi. They were not knowing. There is something called as yoga. There was something called as God. Maybe they were scared of many things. They were concerned about something good. What?
Scared of, suppose you said scared.
So they contemplate on that.
Contemplating on it. So why am I scared? What is it that I'm scared
But fear is Sarira Dharma, what you have to overcome. Rama took one more birth as Krishna to overcome fear. Reality. I did not know. But what I understood, after, now I am 33 years old, at least after 20 years of understanding my own thing, whatever I learn and hear and read, what I think, that's what I'm going to say here. Next one, please. Probably the only thing what they had is nature with them. Almost, this is what we don't have with us now. See, we are all in the yoga conference. Look at around us, what nature we have. There is no nature around us. Typically, what is conducive for yoga performance or the practice of yoga? Not only in this AC hall, anywhere in the world we go, even to our home we go, the vibrations itself are not clean. We don't let fresh air come into our home because we are scared of the mosquito, malaria, dengue and everything. We are away from nature. Probably they were always with nature. All the asanas, most of the asanas, practices come from animals. Mudras, Ashini Mudra is from an animal. All the names of asanas, you find some relation with an animal. Majority of them at least. Kundalini itself is a form of, we represent with a snake. Not with any yogi. Did animals know more yoga than us? Did animals, were animals given that knowledge of yoga or of something without the perception of mind? Or we think we don't have mind but they have something better than us? We do not know. But they were having. And it's not just living with nature, they lived by respecting and following the laws of nature. Their instincts what they follow, but it is perfect. No misuse. There is no rape in animals. There is no overeating in animals. There is no oversleeping in animals. I am speaking about animals which don't live with us. Dogs in our home get all the diseases what we get. Now they're doing kidney transplantation for dogs, cancer for dogs, because they eat what we eat. Then you see how harmful we are to the whole environment, even to our pets. Next one, please. Now, what was plan A? There was evolution going on by instincts. So God or somebody who gave us that the evolution thought, let us give something called Maya and let us see what happens. Like, you suddenly ask a question in a class and you see who is sleeping and who is not sleeping. Like that, a twist in the game. Maybe somebody, a joyful God child came and told, let us just throw Maya into the evolution. And that spoiled us probably. Because with mind we are becoming good. And what is the problem in our life now? It's the mind. If mind, to control mind is what we're doing all this drama. Hatha yoga, Raja yoga, that yoga, this yoga. Now they're going to beer yoga. For now the don'ts is alcohol. Now they're doing yoga with the same thing. I don't know how it is going to change. But it's mind doing everything. Next one, please. And there's a plan B. Probably God had. Either they go with the same flow, or with this Maya they're going to perish. Probably, if we see the negative part of the world, see, we can be very optimistic. But there are also reality, there are so many things which I worry about. If you see that, we have to worry that the world is going to end. I don't know what is going to happen. Next one, please. Now, what is plan A and B? That's what you should decide. We are going to finish in a couple of minutes. Return to nature for the gift of nature. Probably if we unlearn what we have learned unnecessarily in our mind, we may go through evolution course what was designed as plan A. We may go to the next evolution. Nature was the past, nature is the future. For that we have to take a decision in the present. And this is my understanding what I have taken. And this is what I see lacking in many places. You go to any yoga ashram, you will find some mistakes what has been told in many other places. You go to any naturopathy hospital, you find some mistakes what they shouldn't be doing, they're doing. Many places, I'm not saying everywhere, but they are there. And this is what I would like to answer to in my life, if I want to answer something, the integration of that in the most seamless way. Probably there was some lifestyle saints have told, but they never expected this much of chaos in our society. Or they expected and just left, okay, they have to figure it out themselves. Part of plan A, I don't know. So what I understand is, the next one. Many places we see, even our own hospital name is Nature and Yoga Hospital. We treat them as different. Many people say, I'm Ayurveda doctor, I also teach yoga. What do you do, sir? I'm a yoga teacher, I also teach Reiki. Are they all different? Science involves biology, physics, chemistry, but you can't divide them. You can divide them as much as possible. Atoms are different in physics and chemistry also. But that's all for the sake of understanding. They're not actually different. In that way, all the sciences, whatever we developed in our country, it was all same. No saint was expert in only one thing in olden days. Because you learn something, with that perception, everything gives you some knowledge. Probably they understood nature properly. They understood the science of body and mind and soul, whatever it is there inside, they understood they could actually see it. What they're not able to see or think or imagine, they were able to see through clearly. Probably because they understood, they tuned their mind towards nature. Maybe mind is a tool given to us to overcome many things. We don't tune to nature. And why there is a blockage here is not a mistake in this picture. Many naturopathy hospitals don't give emphasis to yoga. Many people who teach about yoga, talk about yoga, do yoga, don't talk about what is their nature cure. The concepts here are the same, what is told in Siddha, Ayurveda, Unani, homeopathy, allopathy, everybody said same thing. Now just because medicines are easy to sell, they just change it. Ayurveda says, Siddha says, how to live healthily, dinacharya, rutucharya. In spite of that you have disease, there are 8 branches, take the medicine. But now what we study, we leave that Swasthya aside because that doesn't give money. A lot of energy we have to spend. We imitate allopathy and that's where Ayurveda is ending its life. The charm of Ayurveda is ending, not the life of Ayurveda, the charm. Similarly, yoga research is imitating allopathy research. They are all different. I don't have time to say about that now. They are very different. If anybody of you here do research, don't imitate allopathy method because that is dividing and studying. Our sciences were combining and studying. Astronomy expert was also Ayurveda expert. Combining is our field. You start nature cure. You live the correct principles. You will become a yogi. You start with yoga. You start with yoga. If you add these things, you become a more yogi. So next one, please. This is the conclusion what I have understood in my this many experience, what I have gained in all these years. But talking to many yogis, naturopaths, whatever we call, I have seen many naturopaths who have lived excellent naturopathy principle life for 60, 70 years. But they didn't achieve something because already told yoga concept, they could have just taken it. It's ready-made food, they would have just taken it. They have not taken it. There are many yogis who are in the ashrams forever. They are still following a guru. The purpose, the work of a guru is to create another guru, not a follower. But all over the world there are so many ashrams. A guru is a guru till he leaves this place or the earth. And he leaves behind some followers. There is no guru who has come in the lineage and make it more bigger. Very few exceptions we have. Because the food concept, whatever told in yoga, it's all secrets are kept. We have to leave. In Tolkapiyam it is told, last 1 minute please. In Tolkapiyam it is told, earth and water is food. What about air? What about light? That is the basic form of food, the gross form of food. Subtler form of other elements are present. We have to use the concepts of yoga to go from the gross elements to higher elements. We have to live on sunlight. That is Surya Trataka purpose, not eye improvement. The purpose of Surya Trataka is you live on sunlight. Then you live on air. Then live on the ether. Unless you live on ether, how can you leave earth? Because all the other things are belonging to earth. Mud and water bring you to earth. Air is in between. Light is beyond. Ether is still more beyond. If you have to go to the next earth, the next universe, probably we should be living on ether. The Akash, the cosmos. We take mitahara, satvika ahara to even leave that one day. That concepts are told by many naturopaths who have no idea about yoga. Because the terms are different, the worlds are different, the countries are different, but the realization is same. So in my experience, if we combine these two, it is wonderful. I have just not gone to some ashrams of yoga who are famous all over just because in breakfast they give biscuits after 3 hours of yoga session. I really think it is a very bad understanding of mitahara and satvikahara. That concepts are told clearly in Nature Cure because there is no secrecy maintained. In yoga they have to have some secrecy. So this is if you want to take a message from this talk, this is what I would say. Learn yoga and naturopathy together because that's the first gear. This second, third, fourth, fifth all combines in this. But start with something what is basic. And thank you so much for patient listening. You go to next slide, please. I would like to discuss more about if you have any doubts. These are my contacts. If you have a phone, just take a photo of this. You have all the details. This is a QR code. If it's good, you will get the contacts in your phone very easily. Thank you so much for patient listening. And thank you for this center for giving me a wonderful opportunity to present my talk. If you have a connection with me, I will share it. More details, whatever I would like to share. Any questions? Thank you.